Hey, 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 Happy New Year.
Hey, guys.
I guess it's New Year's. I mean, we're recording this on, what is it, Saturday?
Yeah.
For New Year's. So not a holiday yet. It's like 10 in the morning, so we're not drinking. But we might actually record an episode drunk on the holiday. I haven't decided what we're going to do for that. I don't know what that episode would be about, but it'll be a blast if we do it.
Just be a drunk one.
Yeah. So I finished Suttree by Cormac McCarthy the other day, and I have to say, Spencer, it has taken the top spot in my esteem as my favorite novel all time.
All time?
All time. Edges out Don Quixote and Lord of the Rings and East to
Wow.
Eden. It is my definitive favorite novel.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really good.
Did he move on from fucking watermelons to grapefruits or something?
Dude, there's so much shenanigans that happen, and it's written so beautifully. And he has this one scene where just randomly the one dude is hanging out with some witch. I'm assuming she's like a voodoo lady or something,
okay.
but I think it's referred to as a witch. I don't even think he actually calls her a witch, but when I read some summaries and stuff, they said she was a witch. She was doing some fucked up ritual with him, and I think she just makes him sick. But he has this line I should have brought the book down to read it. Near the end of that, it's like a small chapter. I don't think they're really. Yeah, it's kind of like a chapter. At the end of the scene where she's naked and he describes her body in very graphic, gross detail. And he calls her a succubus, but the way he writes it, I'm like, if this motherfucker wrote a succubus story, it would be the best ever. It was amazing. Dude, if he wrote genre fiction, it would have been fucking incredible if he ever decided that. But he was hated genre fiction. He didn't understand stories that weren't real. He was like a Hemingway dick. Oh, I don't understand stories that can't be real.
Yeah.
I guess even to him, Moby Dick could have been a real event. But, I don't know, 100 Years of Solitude or something. I can't understand things like that. Or The Matrix. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Even though he's Mr. Science Guy. That simulation, none of that that's all cockamamie bullshit. But regardless, very good. And because I had a little time, I started reading The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, okay.
I was going to read The Alchemist, as we talked about, but I read some reviews on it, and apparently a lot of people said it's a self-help book masquerading as an adventure story.
Oh.
I don't want to read that right now.
Yeah.
I might read it in the future, but I'm not really interested in a self-help book. But Haunting of Hill House, I started yesterday, and I'm halfway through.
Wow.
It's
not. That's not another big one either, right?
It's 200-something pages.
Yeah.
So I should finich that before the new year, so I'll get another book in there. But really good so far.
Nice.
Very entertaining. I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, Suttree. Who would have thought that a book written with the same language as Blood Meridian? So it wasn't the language in Blood Meridian that turned me off. I think it was just the boringness of it. So I would, but when you're bunging watermelons, fucking great. There's so many fucking, there's sewage and there's so many drunken fucking bar fights. New mixer. Gotta get a new mixer. I got some extra money for the holidays, so hopefully I'll just maybe I'll just buy the fucking mixer full price and just say fuck it and then just go live bankrupt in a goddamn flop house somewhere for a couple.
Well, because you know what happens, once you buy it, then it's gonna be on sale somewhere.
I'll buy the fucking mixer and then it'll go on sale for $100 because they have a new one come out. I'm like, God damn it. Anyway, we have an episode about our writing recap, our year in review, and our year forward. So our plans for the new year, as well as what we accomplished in this past year. Can't wait to get to it, Spencer.
Woo!
You look excited.
Yes.
So we will be back in a moment. You're listening to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me, as always, Spencer, the Belgian butthole bunger church.
Oh.
We were talking about bunged watermelons. I had to
Yeah.
bring it back. At least I didn't say boner.
Yeah, I suppose.
I like that boner is a noun and a verb.
Yeah.
It's a thing and an action. I love things that are actions as well as nouns. So, year in review, we'll discuss our publications first. So you came rip-roaring in with a print book.
Yeah. Well, I have the first print book earlier in the year.
Ever.
Was Good Iron Gates of Hell, and an anthology for charity, which I had a pretty long story in that. close to the end of the book, which is always nice.
To close out, what was
Yeah.
the name of that story? Give me a murder.
Yeah, Give Me a Murder, about a kind of crazy high school male cheerleader who will do whatever he can to help the football team win games.
And it's a football-themed horror anthology.
Yeah, so if that's like something you thought you needed, it's there.
Also, I don't want to speak out of turn, but I feel that's one of a kind. I have not come across any other football-themed horror anthologies. So that seems pretty unique in that regard.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. And it's got like a zombified Tom Brady looking guy on the cover, which I like too.
I did. Yeah, the cover is pretty nice on it. And there's a lot of stories.
As far as I know, you can still buy that on Amazon.
Yeah,
too.
I do believe it's still on there. And like I said, profits go to charity, which is always nice. It'd be nice if it was the charity of my wallet every once in a while, but
yeah, you'll get there eventually.
And then just recently with you. Like literally within like the past couple weeks of a collection called Halloween Remains just came out. Well, it's been out digitally for a while now, but the print version is finally available.
Yeah, I think it dropped end of October, early November, something like that.
So now you can get a physical copy of that. And
it's only like $6 too, because it's shorter. It's like 100 pages.
Yeah, I have 2 stories in there because it's the Siren Call website that we both submitted stories to unfortunately went down. And
which was very random.
Yeah.
Because it's been up for a very long time. They were an online, an e-zine.
Yeah.
And I got into, did you get into the spring issue too? You got in the summer.
Yeah.
So I got into the spring issue for my story, Undying Island. And I really wanted that story. I'll talk about it later. I really wanted that in print. So I was a little, not upset, but I was like, yeah. I would have rather this got somewhere else, but I was happy enough because it seemed like a cool.
Right.
It was cool enough that I told you should submit to it, which you got your story that we drunkenly wrote on. Did we record? We didn't record that. It was before an episode.
Right. Yeah.
So we drunkenly wrote. What was the name of that story? You changed the title.
Yeah.
Fresh Wounds or something.
Yeah.
So you wrote that and got into the summer issue. And then we both got into the October big Halloween issue. That was like, we were very excited because they boasted a readership of 35,000 people. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Well, they randomly went down.
They went down.
They had personal problems or something of the like, and whoever runs it decided last minute, not comeuppance, we're not doing this anymore, which was disappointing. But L. Stevenson, who did the Christmas horror anthology I'm in, we were talking about it. I was like, that's a damn shame that all these stories, because it just reverted back to, cool, you own the story, but now it's not published anymore.
Yeah.
You can't read it anymore.
Yeah, because it's not even like a, we're going to stop doing, putting new ones out, but, the archives are still there. It just went completely down.
Everything's gone. So I forget, whether they had almost 70 issues or something.
Something like that, yeah. It was pretty high.
And they publish a lot of stories. So that's a lot. Like, what was every fucking issue? Like 300, 400 pages? It was a lot.
Yeah.
So all those stories and poems just not existing anymore in, the reality of the world. So that kind of sucked. But I got together with L. Stevenson. I was talking to him. I was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if we were able to put together at least everyone that we personally know who's been in at least the last few issues of the Sirens Call. I wouldn't go all time.
Right.
I think maybe some of the people's older stories got in, but he reached out to everybody, at least in my horror group I'm in, and from the horoscope people and you, and we're like, hey, let's put together all the stories and poems that we can and put out at least a very short anthology dedicated to Sirens Call people, because they were doing cool work. They were giving a lot of people first chance to get published.
Yeah.
And we'll just give the proceeds to charity. That way we don't go worry about taxes and shit.
Yeah.
And that's what he ended up doing. And that physical copy came out in November.
Yeah.
I got a copy. I got you a copy. Got Mike a copy because they're only $6.
Yeah.
And pretty cool. My story's Undying Island, and what's my other story? Cursed Flesh, I believe it is, are in it. They're both the one's a short story, one's flash fiction. You had 2 flash fictions. You had Crow Eyes and the fucking Wounds one.
Yeah.
Fresh Wounds or Dirty Deeds or
whatever
it was. Very gruesome.
Yeah.
Very gruesome story. So But you ended up getting another print book out of it. So
yeah, so nice happy accident out of that. That's kind of cool.
Like we were saying off air, I'd rather be in the print than online.
Yeah,
even if the online boasts more readers, and we didn't get paid for the Sirens Call anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Right.
Me. But you only submitted what, like 6, 7? I forget.
Yeah, it was only a handful of things because
like the one that was kind of annoying. I think it was the one you actually wrote that.
Crow Eyes for, yeah. And I still never heard anything back for them.
Yeah, we didn't hear anything. That was Psychotoxin Press or something.
Something like that, yeah.
I think I ended up just unfollowing them because it was some kind of revenge-themed anthology. And I wrote a story specifically for it. It was like a flash fiction or short story. I think they actually wanted flash fiction, maybe. But fucking just decided to not do it. Like, they didn't. Not only did they not get back to it, I went on their website eventually to look, and the anthology call was just gone. Like here's our future anthology, nothing. So I don't know if they just didn't get enough submissions, if they didn't feel they were good enough. I don't know what it was, but that rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, you could at least reach out like, hey, we decided we're not going to do it, but thanks for submitting. Like, that's professional.
Right.
Didn't do any of that, so I'm like, yeah, fuck you in the butt. So I'm not going to ever submit to them again, and now I have a shit story that I'm never going to submit anywhere. But that did get me started on a revenge story. I think I started writing for it. That ended up being too long, which I got accepted elsewhere, which we'll talk about in a few moments. You did give it the old college try of getting at least some stories out there, and you have a better success rating than I do, I think, because for 5 or 6 submissions, you got 3 publications, technically. Well, I guess the Halloween Remains where you didn't actually submit to that, but you had Gridiron and then the 2 Sirens Call. So technically you had 3 acceptances.
And I'm still supposed to have that horoscope.
We'll talk about in the future thing, but she actually started posting about this.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen anything recently.
So you actually have a guaranteed book you're in.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah, and a physical book. So that's cool too, but we'll get there. So is that all for your year in review of
publications? Yeah.
You also wrote or started writing a few things that we wanted to submit to that we just like the Cosmic Horror. We bungled that deadline bad. But thought it was a whole month.
Yeah.
For some reason, I think it was like July or something. I was like, oh, it opens at the beginning of July, and then the submissions. No, it was 1 week.
Yeah.
So we fucking bungled that. And I think we did that maybe with 1 or 2 other ones.
Yeah, because what would happen is you found that submission, like open call submission, like page on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so I'll go through and or it'll pop up like, oh, that seems like a cool thing. And you start and then you get bunged down and you see a different thing. Like, oh, that one looks cool. Like, you know what I mean? And haven't actually finished anything yet. That's what I'm trying to.
Well, and that group thing we joined where you keep sending me like these cool submissions. A lot of times I have to ignore it because I will not.
You get distracted with the things.
I'll start like, ooh, they only want 1,000 words. I could do that.
Yeah.
But with my current story, which is like 7,000 words now, it's almost done. But that started off as supposed to be 1,000 words story.
Yeah.
So I'm just not very good anymore at keeping them short.
Finding the parameters to fit it in.
Yeah. Well, my year in review was pretty good this year.
Yeah, you had a top year.
I actually did a post on it at Caleb James 1986 on Instagram if you want to look at the pictures and stuff. I actually had a decent sized stack of books, physical books I'm in. So I'm going to crunch some numbers for you, Spencer.
Crunch.
I didn't tally the final year-end submissions, like how many times I submitted. Because I think I did that last year. And I think last year might have been like 100. And I think I only got 6.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe less. I don't remember. So not so good. But this year, I submitted far less, but got a lot more. Because I decided to be smart about it and really curated how I do my submission. So I'm like, how about instead of just submitting one story wildly to different places, I try to pick places I think they would really want it. But also, I submitted to a lot less reviews and literary snobbery. So that also had something to do with it. But as of right now, I scored 17 publications.
That's pretty good.
15 new submission acceptances. So I got accepted 15 times this year. I didn't tally those. Like, the numbers are a little different because some of those aren't coming out till next year.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's hard is, like, you never get a clean break, you know? So some of the books that I'm in this year, like the print books that were published, I actually got accepted last year.
Right, yeah.
So it's like, it's weird how you tally them. So I just tally what I got just as the 2024.
I mean, I guess if you could do two different things. You could do like how many stories I got accepted, and then this year, and then like how many stories I had come out this year.
Well, that's why I did it this way. So like I got published 17 times this year, but 15 new acceptances. But also some of those 17 publications were from last year's acceptances. So I didn't actually differentiate the markings there, but I had 15 acceptances on the year. 12 print books published this year, so one every month.
Yeah.
And I had 3 come out in October.
Right.
So I was like, God damn. One special edition print book. So the Ethereal Nightmares I got in released a collector's edition, which is really fucking cool. So I am actually in something that did well enough that they made a collector's edition of. So I thought that was pretty cool. I got one story on a podcast, the No Sleep podcast, which actually I accepted a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
And that finally came out.
That one was a long one.
That was also my biggest payday ever as as a fiction writer, not as just a writer in general. And that was the story The Well, which is, season 22, episode 17, I want to say. I didn't write it down, but you can listen to that for free on the No Sleep podcast. But that's cool because that actually has a whole production team and voice actors. And so technically that's like the most professional thing I've been in. And they have the biggest audience. It's like 5 million people, 5 million listeners or something, I think, every month. I guess we should have started with what our goals were last year and then how we... If we reached them. Your goal was 5 publications total.
I think something like that.
And I think you only wanted like 1 print or something, which you got. You got the print. You got 2 prints. My goal was I wanted to get 10 publications, 5 print books, 1 international publication. So I got, 17 publications, so I overshot that, and 12 print books, so I over doubled that as well. So
and you also wasn't one of your goals to get paid?
Yeah, too? I got paid numerous times for my works, so can't complain there as well. But I didn't just get 1 UK publication. I got multiple. I got multiple international publications this year. Another one is I wanted to get into a magazine. I got into 3 technically. So I got into Diabolic Press issue 1. I got into Mini Mag, which is an online zine. And I guess you could count. I didn't count it just because it went down, but the
Siren's Call.
Yeah, because that was a zine. Then I got into the Strange Days zine, which is a small zine as well. Also, another one. This was a complete curveball. I did a live poetry reading.
Yeah,
never did that before. Didn't say I like doing that, but because I got a couple poems published this year. I've been in at least 2 anthologies. I think I've got more, but I got went to an event full of people. Read a poem. That's on my Instagram too somewhere. And I wanted to get at least 1 actual review, and I got the Anoia review. So I did get a snobby literary zine of sorts. So that was pretty productive, I think. I overshot all my goals, which was nice. I also, as we discussed before, I had a fairly decent back catalog of stories from the old DPW days that I reworked a little. So I had a lot of things I could submit. So going into the new year, it's not going to be quite the same.
Or at least at the beginning of the year, probably.
Yeah, it's like I'm not going to be able to submit as much because everything I'm going to have to submit is like new stuff, Trying to think, what were some notable mentions here? I didn't really think to, I guess you mentioned your publications. I didn't write them down, but so the books I had come out this year, these are just the print books. So I had Horoscope 4, Ethereal Nightmares, Halloween Anthology. This is in no order. These Eastern Eastern Sea Bards, issue 1 of Diabolic Press, readings from Curse 301, Violent Advents, a Christmas horror anthology, Spank the Carp. This was a curveball too. I got into Spank the Carp like last year. They randomly just did a print anthology, which I got to be in. So I didn't expect that I was going to be in one, but so that was another book. Pennsylvania Bard, Strange Days zine, Halloween Remains, Beautiful Darkness Volume 3, and all the online stuff I was into. Mini Mag, the Siren's Call, the Defunct Siren's Call. What else? And the Anoia review, I said. The No Sleep podcast. Dark Descents, volume something or other. 3, maybe?
I think 3.
That was in August. That's on the Dark Homes Publishing website. That was a flash fiction. I think there was others, but it doesn't really matter. So, the future, Spencer. What does the future hold for Spencer Church? What do you want to do this year? Goals? I'd imagine they should be loftier than last year's.
I guess to, it'd probably be, see, I don't know about like a number one, but, just to try to up the submissions. I mean, even if I'm not getting accepted, but try to get the amount of submissions out there more, just to get in the practice of submitting more.
I feel like you should at least hit 20 for the year.
20 submissions?
That's a very low number if you're actually trying to get accepted to a bunch of places. Yeah, I think 20 is a good number just if you're starting out. But also, if you're curating your submissions better and you're hitting themes and stuff, you have a better shot.
Right.
If you're just doing general submissions to a bunch of places, I could see you easily get 50.
Yeah.
Because you can submit one story to 10 different places.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, if you get accepted, you have to withdraw. But
true.
What about print books? Now, you already have one guaranteed coming out. We were mentioned earlier. So you're going to be in the Horoscope Cancer Anthology, I believe it is. And that's a guaranteed one because, like I said, she already started posting about it. So I think she posted the cover for the Aquarius one. Yeah, so that's a thing. It's happening. She's doing one for each sign. What it is from the 4 horoscope volumes, she's taking the best stories. I'm going to be in the Leo one, I think, for my Horoscope 3 story. So she's taking the best stories and then also adding news stories. Yeah. You are the news story.
Yeah, and it's only like a flash fiction, so it's not, it's easy to, to plug in there.
And you will get paid for that. So if you didn't already, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a couple bucks.
$10. $10. $10 for 500 words isn't bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So I wouldn't complain. And you get a free book.
Yeah.
Which is like $20.
But I don't know. Probably try to get as close to 10, like double digits as possible. I mean, that'd probably be really lofty, but it'd be nice. It almost kind of like what you did this year, almost like the one a month or chat. Maybe if it's not one a month, you could average it out to one a month if you can get a good streak going.
Yeah, that's cool because then you get a whole bookshelf of books too. You're in. I got half a bookshelf now. If I get another dozen, I'll be all right. Payment wise, do you have any? Obviously, you want to get paid,
right,
but are you going to focus strictly on getting paid, or you still think you're in the place? Because we discussed, I'm in the place now where it's like I need to get paid more. Like unless it's something that's really reputable, I'm not going to submit to more free shit.
Yeah,
even if it means like a guarantee. Because that was a part of my curation last year was like a lot of the stuff I wasn't going to get paid for, but I knew because of that, I was going to have a really good shot at getting in. So it's almost like a guaranteed publication.
Right.
Like, I did like the mini magazine. So I was like, I'm going to get in that regardless, but it's not paid. It's online. So that was a part of the resume building. But I think I'm finally at the point now where it's like, now I can focus on just getting paid.
Yeah, you have a little bit of a body of work now that, you can look back on.
So do you feel like you're in the position you still need to do the resume building, at least for like half the year maybe?
Probably, yeah. I mean, like it'd be great to get paid anything, but I think also too it's if it if I can see like if I find a submission where I think like something well like that'll be really good for there, you know what I mean, like if I think it's a really good fit but it's not gonna get paid, as long as it's not something crazy where you have to do like a 10,000-15,000 word story or something like that. But yeah, especially if it's still like a lot of like the shorter short stories, the pay probably won't be as big as a factor, but again, like we were saying, it'd be nice to get paid for as much as you can, or as often, I guess.
Right. I think a very doable goal for you, which would benefit you greatly, would be to write to completion one story a month.
Yeah.
Like if you're just focusing on short stories still.
Yeah.
That way you would have, even if you don't get your submission goal, this year necessarily, by next year you'd have so many stories.
You'd have you had the catalog, or the backup of stories.
Because if you're writing stories that are under 5,000 words, I don't see any reason why you can't just buckle down and actually do a story a month. If you're writing, because like I can get a decent story a month just by writing a paragraph or two a day. So it's just a matter of getting it done. And I need to do that as well, as we talked about. I need to at least try to get 2 stories a month.
Yeah,
it should take me a whole month to do one fucking 5,000 to 7,000 word story, but sometimes it doesn't. I've written long stories in a day. I've written very short flash fictions in 2 months. I just don't get it.
Well, we need to hit the lottery is what we need to do.
Well, that's what we always complain. It's fucking work that does it.
Yeah,
having a day job just fucking kills ambition. I don't know. It's terrible. I'm trying to think. I do have some guaranteed books in the works, so from my story Undying Island that's in Halloween Remains, that's already been accepted into Peasant Magazine 3. That was when I was just on Siren's Call. I submitted. I was like, hey, I just want this in print. I don't care how much it cost.
No, double print.
So like it's not I think they sell the Peasants Magazine for like $3 or something.
Yeah.
And they do it online for free as well. But if you want, you could buy the print. I just wanted it in print. Is what.
Right.
That was before Halloween Remains, and now it's already in print. So now it's like it'll be double print. Yeah. Fine with me. They obviously take reprints. I already talked to them about it. But so that, assuming they don't discontinue the fucking magazine, that's supposed to come out this year sometime. I think they just wait. They wait till they get enough stories or something. So Peasant Magazine 3 should be a guaranteed one. I already got I signed the contract and everything for the Splatterpunk Volume 2 from Hellbound Books. My werewolf stories in that, so that's guaranteed. I already signed the contract. Unless they just go under. In that case, they'll have to give me thousands of dollars. Ooh. I'm suing. Fucking suing you, bitches. So that I don't have a date for that, but I'm thinking probably like March or something. They seem like those, because that's another actual publisher, so they have a quick turnaround. Yeah. Like the Dragon Soul Press, I got in that beautiful darkness. I think I got accepted in August, and it came out in October. Like they have a quick turnaround with that stuff, and they do a good job. So I mean, I can't say Hellbound Books the same, but from all the books I've seen of theirs, they look really good. So and then like I said, the Horoscope Leo anthology I'm in. Granted, that's just another reprint from my story in Horoscope 3, but that's 3 guaranteed physical books I'm in without having to do anything new this year. So that's good.
Yeah.
Granted, the werewolf story is a completely brand new unpublished story, so I'm excited for people to read gay werewolves.
Yes.
It's awesome. It's gory. It got into a splatterpunk, so I didn't think it was gory enough, but the lady said she really liked it. Whoever reached out to the editor or something. So I'm like, cool. Yeah. It must have been gory enough for them. I mean, there's a boner that gets snapped in half, and I used the word spurt. Some spurts out of it, some blood. As far as my goals this year, I've discussed previously, they're not going to be as lofty.
Yeah.
Because I'm focusing more, besides just on getting paid. So short story goals, I have a handful of short stories that I want to finish and submit off to. And I think they're all horror. Asher Kang's Sword and Sorcery, so that I guess that one, this one, whereas my first one was horror adjacent because it was a dark fantasy, this one's more just sword and sorcery.
Yeah.
It's not really horror, but that story I'm hoping to get done early January. I have to get back to it and submit that because there's a publication that I think submission runs out in January. So I would like to get that done. But the rest of it's just horror stories, and I want to. I'm not a horror writer. Honestly, I don't believe I'm a horror writer. Granted, almost everything I'm in is fucking horror, but that's not my bread and butter. That's not like what I generally. I have no problem writing it. Obviously, it's just that's not what I'm like. Oh, I want to write horror and only horror. I just somehow got myself into a bunch of horror shit. So I would like to get some more non-horror stuff published. Maybe some literary fiction if I can. But again, that's where it's weird because like I still like genre. Like I like the genre storytelling, but just in a literary way. So where the fuck are you getting that published? My goals, like I said, are less lofty in regards to amount of submissions. So whereas last year I wanted 10 publications, 5 print. This year I am only aiming for 5 publications, and I don't really care about the print. I mean, I'm guaranteed 3, so I guess 5.
Yeah.
So 5 and 5 seems like a good number for me. I would like them all to be paid, and unless the book's really cool. That's another thing too. Is like you get a contributor copy of a really cool book, I'm like a little less likely to. Also, I fucking there's a couple of things that I say. Oh, I'm not gonna write as many short stories. I've been sent a couple things from some professional writers that tell me I need to submit to this new anthology or this cool magazine. I'm like, well, maybe I should.
Yeah.
So I might do a couple more of those, but I'm thinking by spring or summer, the latest, I am going to strictly focus on getting back to my novel and a novella I was working on. I want to at least finish one of those, and that's my lofty goal is getting a very long work done. It's something that I can shop around to actual agents and not just publishers. Though if it's a novella, I could probably shop that around to publishers without an agent. If it's a novel, I'll probably have to get an agent. But I want to take the next step.
Yeah.
And as far as like some short stories, I might still write if I think I have a chance of getting in that would be my other lofty goal is at least one high-end literary magazine, or I'm not saying the New Yorker, but like maybe something that's like a step below that. Something that's going to pay decent and really would get me some esteem. I'm hoping the story I'm almost done with now is going to do that for me. I think it has a lot of promise. So I might be able to hit that right off the bat. Or it might be like some of my other stories where I'm shopping it around for a fucking year and a half with no luck. I'm also apparently still in the running for the Kurt Vonnegut Speculative Fiction Prize.
Okay.
I submitted months ago to that. And I haven't seen any. It's supposed to be the winners announced, I think, January 20th, maybe. I didn't hear anything like about, shortlist or finalist or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure when I submitted, it said if you don't get like the first round or first 2 rounds, like they would email you, November or something. Yeah. So apparently I'm still in the running anyway.
Oh, nice.
So that's something to look out for, is like, even if I got in like the top 3, I think I get something maybe. Oh, cool. So that'd be cool. If you win, you get $1,000 and you get printed in the North American Review. So I have some hopes for that, because that's the one story I can't get published anywhere. And then I submitted another long story I have to another one I can't get published. I submitted to this magazine, or I guess it's a magazine. It's called Volume 0. It looks kind of cool, and they seem to be picking up on like Facebook. Like people subscribe to it for their book clubs. So it's like actually got a decent readership already, and they're only on their like 5th issue or something. But I haven't heard anything back, and I don't know if it's one of those ones that just won't say anything.
Yeah. I
want to say when I did the guidelines, it was like, hey, if we don't get accepted, we just won't say anything. Fuck you if you're doing that. Don't just say something. Just say no. It's all. I just want an email that just says no.
Yeah.
But I think that's about it. Like I said, not too lofty goals. I'll probably get a bunch of poetry published this year because it's easy.
Well, I want to ask you we've talked about this before, and like we kind of did it with the story that's in the Halloween.
Do like a write together.
Yeah, like an actual one where like it's like a
short story
or something like and it's titled both written by both of us and stuff like that.
I definitely would be interested in that. I was trying to figure out before the what would, like, submission wise, what would be the workings of that? Like, do we just like submit it somewhere, maybe even under like the DPW email, and just be like, hey, this is a joint work?
Yeah, I mean that, or just I would even say this even in the submission email, be like, hey, we're co-writers.
Yeah.
And if there's a thing where we get paid, I guess we just would split it, or what, what I mean, or whatever. But be like, well, we co-wrote this story. If that's all right, do you have
I think the first story in that Horoscope Volume 4 was a co-written story. It was
so
like
I don't see why people would have trouble. I mean, it's not like that's not a thing. Like
yeah,
people. I mean, the what was that sci-fi show, and then it went to Amazon that you liked for a while.
The Expanse.
Those novels are co-written by 2 guys.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I don't see why that would be a problem. I mean, I'm sure you could get that like a Hellbound Books or something.
Mm-hmm.
They have some anthologies. I could imagine them just being like, "Hey, we co-wrote story.
Yeah,
give us $5."
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea. Because I'm sure we'd come up with something fucked up.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It seems like, and that's probably why I've published so much horror stuff this year. There's a lot of places I want horror.
Yeah.
And sci-fi, and I don't write sci-fi really. I haven't tried. So crime is one I want to get into. I worry that if I write crime and I'm good at it, I'm just gonna write a lot of crime. But I don't read a lot of crime, so I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to look into that more and just see if that's up my, that's in my bag.
If it's enough to make a partial living off of, you could be writing worse things.
I just feel like crime has less literary elements than horror. Like horror touches on a lot of things. Like you could write so many different kinds of, like gothic horror is where I tend to lean, so I get a lot more literary influence. Whereas crime, I mean, you can have literary crime. I mean, we read like Raymond Chandler and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of like with the language. It's just I feel like the stories you're telling.
Well, see, I don't know. I think it depends on the way you write it, because I think crime could open itself up kind of good with literary, because like it's a lot of person-on-person interaction. Like,
True.
You know what I mean? There's the PI who is following a spouse to see if they're cheating, and just like the inner workings of.
But the biggest factor you're missing here is the reader.
Yeah.
Who reads crime?
True.
Are they reading literary fiction? I mean, you get that with horror where it's like, well, who's reading the horror? And it seems to be split categories. Yeah, and I don't say dum-dums because I read a lot of, Stephen King-esque.
Yeah.
So horror that's more available for general audiences, but then you have the other side of the coin where, like I said, more literary horror. Crime, I mean, I don't read enough crime to know if
I just want some goddamn Kay Kowalski books, goddammit.
All right. But I told you Kay Kowalski was a children's book author.
Oh, whatever.
You just want some Kowalski?
I want you to write a Kay Kowalski who's a hard-nosed detective, but on the side he writes children's novels to flip the kids his fluttering PI job.
I actually like that idea. What should we make this Kowalski fellow look like? Maybe that'll be our co-written thing. We're both Kay Kowalski, and we could both write stories as Kay Kowalski and submit them.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and then fuck it, who cares? We'll create just a shit email for Kay Kowalski or a shit website or something, and just have a whole series, and no one will know who Kay Kowalski is.
That reminds me of the fucking one of those later episodes of The Office where Jim and Dwight become a third salesperson to rack up more commissions.
It's not a bad idea. Anyway, we'll mull that over. Kay Kowalski, see if he'll take over the literary world. I'm like, why is this Kay Kowalski story so goddamn wordy? And then this Kay Kowalski story just has a lot of nut kicking. Well, that was our cheap review of 2024. I think we did a serviceable job of submitting stuff and being writers compared to previous years.
Yeah. I
feel like this year we were actually writers. Whereas other years we were just like, we want to be writers. I think that was the separation of 2022/2023 to this year, was that we went from just wanting to be writers to actually being writers.
At least in the technical sense.
Well, in the sense that people want to read our work.
Yeah.
Versus in the past where it's like, we just want people to read our work.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we had DPW and we just could publish anything.
Yeah.
There was no, some people like the stories, but there was no people going, hey, that's not good enough.
Right, yeah.
This year, now we got people saying that's not good enough or that's good enough. So that's cool. Anyway, you can follow us at DPW Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can check out my vast publication history at calebjamesk.com. I got links. I got purchasing options. I got merch. Kay Kowalski merch coming soon.
Yes.
We'll just make Kay Kowalski this big figure with all this merch and never actually get around to the writing. Make him like this anomaly. They'll be like, oh man, you hear about Kay Kowalski? And every once in a while, like, if one of us gets like famous or something, like, our biggest influence was the writer Kay Kowalski. His fucking book, they're out of print, so you can't find them. We don't even know the publisher. I have them personally. I'm not letting you touch them. Greatest works ever. Puts Hemingway and Fitzgerald to shame, this guy. He was fucking better than Chandler. He was better than Robert E. Howard. He's better than all of them. Kowalski. He also the wrestler on the side. Spencer Church's OnlyFans. He is the Belgian butthole bunger.
Bungle.
Is bunger actual? I know you could two bung.
Yeah.
You know what?
You've been bunged?
We'll talk about this off air. It's actually just writing semantics, so it has nothing that people... Actually, it's probably why people listen to the show, but we'll talk about it off air. But anyway, enjoy your new year, folks. This episode drops at... No, it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Because it comes out on Tuesday, right?
Should have got hammered drunk for this. Yeah, Tuesday. So Happy New Year. I hope 2025 brings you all joy and your wildest goals. And if you live in the U.S.,
good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Godspeed.